All right. Can you hear me now? Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me now. I think because I see my audio levels. So if that's the case, then I think I was just muted for that whole thing. I went on this whole diatribe real quick and I guess I was muted. All right. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you're here live and you can now hear me, because that was kind of crazy. Okay. So I went on this whole diatribe that you couldn't hear. Anyway, I'm Mel, your new favorite astrologer. Might not be the most tech savvy person, but I am really good at astrology. So stay tuned for all of that. This is the weekly astro forecast for the week of January 2nd through January 8th. My whole spiel, subscribe, set notifications, follow me on Instagram, all that good stuff. Y'all know what that is, right? Yes. So I was saying that it is the new year. It's kind of a time of newness, even though it's winter, and winter is all about hibernation. But this isn't about taking action in that typical new year, new me, New Year's resolution kind of a way. This is taking some action, but depending on what your particular astrology looks like and the astrology generally, it's a time of really reflection before taking action, because we still have 2 planets going retrograde. So it's a time of really reevaluating a lot of things. Okay. But January is going to be a month of a shift. You're definitely going to feel a shift by the end of January, because all planets are going to be direct by the end of the month. Okay. So by that time, it's going to be go time. Mercury won't be retrograde anymore. Mars won't be retrograde. It's going to be a time where we really push forward. All right. And if you want to know more about what January has in store, not only generally, but for your particular rising sign, I will put the link to the playlist below. I did the general astrology for the month, plus I separated it out by rising sign. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. All right. So, of course, general housekeeping and announcements. If you're here with me in the live, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up on your way in, and feel free to say hello in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, hit that like button, because you know you're going to like this. You're going to like this anyway. So you might as well just do it proactively. And for that, I thank you. All right. So if you are someone who is interested in getting your horoscope, but you're not really interested in reading all of the fluff that's online, I started this service where I do the weekly horoscopes, and they are texted to your phone every Monday. If that is something that you are interested in, text ZODIAC to 855-826-5544. Again, that's 855-826-5544. Text the word Zodiac, and you will be prompted to put in your sun or rising sign, and you will get your horoscope every Monday. All right. And if you missed that information, that link is in the description box below. And as always, if you are someone who is interested in astrology, but you don't know where to begin studying, or even if you're fairly new to astrology and need a bit of a refresher or some more information, I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology, mainly the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the signs, the houses, and the aspects. It's an 11-page PDF document that, again, gives you the quick and dirty on all of the important stuff, so you can start studying and you can start committing it to memory. It's very handy. People seem to really like it. So if you are interested, the link is going to be in the description box below. All you have to do is drop your email address and you'll be good to go. All right, so let's get into the highlights for this week. All right, so first up, we have what I like to call lovers and friends. All right, and this is Venus moving into Aquarius. Aquarius is all about humanitarian energy and this energy of group, right? It's very friend-like energy. And so Venus in Aquarius really reminds us that the best relationships often start off as friendships, okay? And being able to commune with and align with people who are of the same mindset or the same ideology is really important, particularly at this time, okay? It's also getting us to think outside of the box, whether we're talking about relationships or even whether we're talking about money and assets, okay? There's a very futuristic sort of rebellious nature with Aquarius. And so when Venus is in Aquarius, when it comes to love and relationships, we're a little rebellious. Personal freedom becomes very important to us. And like I mentioned before, it's all about friendship as well as love. All right. The next up, we have what I like to call emotional illumination. And this is going to be that full moon in Cancer going down on Friday the 6th. All right. A lot of intuition, a lot of intellect, and a big focus on our basic emotional needs. All right. And then finally, I have what I like to call light and optimism. So at the end of the week, Mercury and the sun are going to be conjunct, and that is known as a Mercury cazimi. And those tend to be a very fortunate and lucky kind of time. All right. But what I like about this particular Mercury cazimi, because we get this every so often, every couple of months we get a Mercury cazimi. Not only does it represent good fortune and optimism, but it's going to energize certain things, especially things from the past, because Mercury is currently retrograde. So depending on where it's going down in your chart, you may find that some things are currently heated up a little bit in a good way. All right. So let's get into the nitty gritty and see what we have for the week. So on Monday today, we have Venus in Aquarius, Mercury sextile Neptune, and the moon is going to be moving into Gemini. Then on Wednesday, we've got Venus sextile Jupiter. On Thursday, we've got the sun trine Uranus and the moon in Cancer. Then on Friday, we've got that full moon in Cancer that I was just talking about. Then on Saturday, we've got sun conjunct Mercury, which is that Mercury cazimi, and the moon is going to move into Leo. And then finally, we close out the week with a powerful trine between Mercury and Uranus. All right, so let's get into it. All right, my love. So today we've got Venus moving into Aquarius, and you will see that at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart. That's Venus in Aqua. Then we have Mercury sextile Neptune. Mercury is in Capricorn, and it's going to be sextile to Neptune, which is in Pisces. And then finally, we have the moon moving into Curious Gemini. All right, let's talk about it. So Venus in Aquarius. I alluded to this before, but this is about finding personal freedom in your relationships and relationships that are based on friendship and camaraderie, okay? Everything about Aquarius is unconventional. It doesn't like to follow routine. It doesn't like structure. It likes to forge its own path and think outside the box, okay? And so when Venus is in Aquarius, that's exactly the attitude and the energy we have toward our relationships and our money, okay? Our money and our assets. It's about finding and thinking of new ways to satisfy your emotional need for relationships and to attract money and assets into your life, right? So Aquarius is an air sign, despite the fact that its symbol is the water bearer. It is indeed an air sign. And so this is all about thinking unconventionally. The essence of Aquarius energy is innovation and invention. So when it comes to Venus and Aquarius, this may be finding new ways to make money, perhaps using technology, right? Because we are in the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius energy is very much concerned with technology, okay? So it could be about finding new ways to make money or attracting money into your life. Now, Venus, when we're talking about relationships, right, and Venus in Aquarius, they are not emotional. Venus in Aquarius is not emotional. As a matter of fact, it's often spoken of as being emotionally detached and a bit cold. Because Aquarius lives in the mind, particularly the mind in a way that's geared toward the future, Venus in Aquarius is always looking forward, always looking for new ways to do things, but not necessarily concerned with nurturing a loving relationship. It's not to say that if you have Venus in Aquarius or you're dealing with someone that has Venus in Aquarius that they may be cold to you. It's just that if you're looking for all of that lovey-dovey energy, you're not going to find it with Venus in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius lives here, not necessarily here. Okay. It could be a period of time where you're being experimental with relationships. For people that really like freedom, you don't like labels, you like to experience relationships on your own terms, then Venus in Aquarius is going to be perfect for you, because this is how you can experiment with how you want relationships to look in your life. You have this ideology when it comes to relationships, and maybe this is how it plays out for you when Venus is in Aquarius, okay? And finding people that sort of feel the same way that you do, or at least think the same way that you do when it comes to relationships or money for that matter, right? If you're someone who likes a very detached kind of relationship style, or you're someone who doesn't like labels or likes anything that may be considered out there unconventional, Venus in Aquarius gives you the energy to sort of find those people who feel and think the same way. The last thing that Venus in Aquarius wants is someone who doesn't think like they do. If you're someone who enjoys personal freedom, likes to be free, adventurous, and unconventional, the last thing that you would want is to be with someone who's very traditional and tied down and very codependent, right? So Venus in Aquarius gives you the ability to find the person you really vibe with on an intellectual level. Okay. It's all about experiencing relationships and money in a different and unconventional sort of way. All right. The next up, we have Mercury sextile Neptune. Okay. So Mercury is currently in Capricorn and it's retrograde. Neptune is currently in Pisces. So this is kind of it's really about implementing spirituality in a practical sort of way. I feel like this particular transit, it is definitely giving as above, so below, and like meeting in the middle. Okay. It's a great transit for relaxation. It's a great transit for spirituality. Your dream state may be particularly vivid. That's where you may be receiving messages. With Mercury being retrograde, I definitely wouldn't. This is definitely giving like messages from your ancestors in your dreams. Dreams being very vivid. Messages from grandparents who have passed, people in your family who have passed, really communicating with you in the dream state, in the dream realm. So you're definitely going to want to keep a dream journal because your dreams may have a lot of messages for you. Okay. Anything creative really thrives under this transit. So if you find that you have a creative endeavor or a hobby, you would definitely want to put in some work while this transit is active, definitely today into tomorrow. Okay. This is not a great transit for things like signing contracts. I mean, Mercury is retrograde, so signing contracts is kind of a no-no anyway. But with Neptune energy, it's very ethereal, it's very spiritual, it's larger than life, it's fantastical, you can't pinpoint it. And if you have to do any work that's particularly detail-oriented or requires you to have intense study and focus, you may find it a little difficult to do that. So if you can sort of put that work to the side, of course, if you can, focus on things that are more creative, that are more big picture. It'll be the best use of your energy with this transit. Okay. Relationships, right? Because even though Venus is a relationship sign, I always think of relationships in terms of Mercury too, because Mercury covers communication. And you can't have relationships without communication. You can't relate to other people without communicating to them. So of course, Mercury being retrograde, this could be people from the past coming back around. That goes without saying. But because Neptune is in the mix, it allows you to have a more compassionate communication style. Like you're able to communicate with people non-verbally, telepathically, and really empathize with people whenever you have Neptune in the mix. So what I like about this is, especially if you've had a falling out with someone in the past, depending on where Mercury is in your chart, right? I feel like you can definitely make amends with people from the past with this particular transit, and you can come to an understanding. It's not just about like apologizing. It's not just about communicating on a superficial level. Neptune is going to allow you to empathize, sympathize with that person, make amends, and mend any broken relationships, particularly from the past. So keep that in mind. And then finally, we have the moon in Gemini. Okay. And I was talking to my sister right before I came live, and Mars is currently retrograde in Gemini. And retrograde Mars is like pent up energy. It's pent up anger. It could be pent up rage, pent up frustration that you just cannot express. And with the moon transiting Gemini between today and Thursday, it's going to activate that Mars retrograde. So many people may be going through anger issues. You may be expressing repressed anger. rage, even frustration. A lot of that is going to come out, right? Because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is all about communication. So this may give you the opportunity to speak your piece, get some things off your chest, especially if you have repressed anger. I mean, you definitely don't want to, if you've closed certain doors, you definitely don't want to reopen them just to argue with someone, right? But I feel like today's astrology, particularly today, Monday, it gives you the opportunity to vent or even express some repressed anger to people from the past, okay? Maybe concerning people in the past, okay? But I feel like a lot of people are going to be feeling this angry energy, or maybe if you're someone who knows how to manage your anger well, this might not apply to you, but I definitely feel like transiting Gemini, okay? So keep that in mind as well. All right, so let's keep it moving. All right, so on Wednesday, we've got Venus sextile Jupiter. So Venus will have made her way into Aquarius. You'll see her at the top left portion of the chart at 1 degree Aquarius, and Jupiter is going to be at 1 degree Aries. Okay, so whenever you have Venus and Jupiter meeting up, no matter what the aspect is, it's always overwhelmingly positive because both Venus and Jupiter are known as benefic planets, meaning that they bestow beneficial energy. So this is an excellent day to party. This is an excellent day to socialize. This is an excellent day to get close to people. Venus is all about socializing. So being social, having fun, being sort of carefree, adventurous. Wednesday is going to be one of those days. So it's going to be one of those days where it's going to be really hard to focus on work, especially if you've got people in your ear who want to go out. You've got people who want to do things, be social. It's going to be very hard to concentrate. I find that between Monday and Wednesday, these are not the best days to really get any hardcore work done. So if you find that you're having difficulty, please don't beat yourself up, okay? Just tell your boss it's the astrology and you had nothing to do with it, all right? This is a great time. So this Venus sextile Jupiter transit on Wednesday is a great time to feel and look your best. Confidence is going to be at an all-time high. I feel like just your general overall feeling about your appearance and how you're showing up is also going to be at an all-time high. So it's a great time to see people, to be seen, to attract people to you. It's a very good time for that. If you're fortunate enough to be able to take a trip, taking a trip while Venus is sextile Jupiter is always a good look. You'll probably meet beneficial people or meet people that you're attracted to or that are attracted to you. But generally, this particular transit just brings good fortune. It brings good luck. It brings good things with money and beauty. It's about cooperation. You can definitely also, you can use the energy of this transit to mend any relationships, extend an olive branch, or accept someone's apology. Okay, so it's all in all, it's a feel good sort of transit. But the negative side to it is that you can overdo it. Anytime you're talking about Jupiter, you're talking about expansion, and expansion can lead to things like overconsumption, excess, over indulgence, gluttony, especially with Venus in the mix. Gluttony could be at an all-time high with that. All right, so practice moderation. Don't overdo it, but by all means on Wednesday, enjoy yourself. I don't think that you'll regret it if you do. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so on Thursday, we have the sun in Capricorn, trine Uranus in Taurus, and then we have the moon making its way into Cancer. All right, so let's talk about it. Sun trine Uranus is a great transit, I feel, because it allows for expansion of the mind. It allows you to be open to new possibilities, but most importantly, it fosters change. It fosters dramatic and rapid change at that, okay? Whenever you have the sun, you're talking about your personality, you're talking about your consciousness, you're also talking about your self-awareness. So I feel like under this transit, you're going to have the ability to really assess where you are and think about what changes you want to make, okay? Because both of these planets are going to be in earth signs. The sun is in Capricorn, and Uranus is in Taurus. So this is about making practical changes. And these could be rapid changes that may have a lasting effect, right? Because again, we're talking about earth signs. Now, the thing about Uranus is that its energy is unpredictable. So this may not even be changes that you make. This could be changes that are sort of thrust on you. But because it's a trine, you're going to be able to adapt to these changes quickly. This isn't the case where you're going to be blindsided and you have no idea what to do. I feel like it's going to be like happy accidents, chance encounters that are extremely beneficial. It's like being aware of who you are and where you want to be. And then the right person just happens to fall into your lap or they just happen to cross your path. Okay. That's sort of how this transit can work itself out. Okay. And even if you decide to make certain changes, right? And these could be changes that are very tangible, that you can experience, that may affect other people. Even if you make these changes, I feel like people are going to be receptive to them because this is a trine. So even if you decide to do something out of the ordinary, or even if you decide that you want to get up and move, or you just want to do something completely unorthodox, I feel like people around you are going to be like, okay, all right, I can rock with that. Or, this makes sense to me, or something like that, right? So any change under this transit is going to be pretty positive. So keep that in mind. It's also a great time for learning, especially things having to do with technology, things like science, computers, even astrology is a really great thing to learn under this transit. So keep that in mind as well. All right. Then we have the moon moving into Cancer. Now, it's not going to be full moon status on Thursday. It'll just have entered Cancer at that time. But Cancer is the home sign for the moon. So the moon is extra comfortable there. So expect to feel all the feels. I'm going to get into it in a second, but the full moon is going to have everyone extremely sensitive, probably pretty moody, but very tapped into your intuition. Okay. So this is going to be like a time where you may want peace and quiet. You may just kind of want to stay at home and sort of just chill out. You may be really feeling a lot, trying to make sense of your feelings. It may be pretty triggering because anytime we talk about Cancer and the moon in Cancer, we're talking about things like mommy issues, basic emotional needs, things from the past, emotionally speaking, coming back up. So could be a little emotionally triggering, but this full moon is going to be extremely enlightening. All right. And I will get to that next. All right. So on Friday, we've got that full moon in Cancer. So we're going to have the sun at 16 degrees Capricorn and the moon at 16 degrees Cancer. All right. I just finished doing a live today with my friend Rob Blackstorm all about this full moon in Cancer. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below so you can check it out. We talk about the full moon in Cancer, but we talk about a lot of other important things. So you're definitely going to want to not cop that. You're definitely going to want to catch that. And again, I'll leave that link in the description box below. But this moon is going down at 16 degrees Cancer. This is very important because we are in a 7 universal year. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 equals 7. So the magic number for this year is the number 7. And the fact that the moon it's going to be a full moon at the 16th degree of Cancer, 1 plus 6 is 7. So essentially, the essence of the number 7 is intellect plus intuition. It's about this balance between what you think and what you feel. And if we're talking about Cancer, we are definitely talking about what we feel. This is going to be one of those full moons that's going to be very enlightening in terms of your basic emotional needs. Are they being met? How are they being met? And who are they being met by? I think that a lot of this information is going to be illuminated at this full moon. Hence why I feel like it's going to be very emotional, and it may be emotionally triggering for a lot of people. Okay. It's using your intuition, but also using your intellect. So it's not just following your gut. It also has this common sense approach to it as well. Because remember, the sun is still in Capricorn. Capricorn is very much about tangibility. It's about evidence, about what you can see, feel, and hear. It's very logical, right? And then when you combine that with your intuition, that's how you can move forward successfully. Okay. So don't just rely on your intuition. Don't just rely on your intellect. Whatever becomes illuminated at this full moon, approach it holistically, intellectually, and intuitively. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that one of the things I always look at when I'm doing videos about the moon, the degree that the moon is occurring at always has a particular meaning. So I researched this thing called the Sabian symbols, and it gives every single degree in the astrological wheel an archetype or a story. So the 16th degree of Cancer is the seed grows into knowledge and life. This is very interesting because even when doing the research for this and listening to my intuition and getting these channeled messages, there's something about this full moon that has a lot to do with pregnancy. Okay. It's not just pregnancy in the physical sense, although it can be. You know, a lot of babies tend to be born at the full moon. I know I'm a full moon baby. So a lot of babies tend to drop at the full moon because the waters are just, yeah. But this is also pregnancy of the mind. This is going to be the full moon where a lot of people plant the seeds that will germinate and grow into amazing things throughout this year. I feel like many people are going to get the ideas, $1 million ideas, going to get ideas that will lead to financial stability and security, ideas with respect to who they believe that they are and their self-concept, ideas with respect to relationships or career even. But I feel like this full moon in Cancer is going to provide the fertile soil to plant seeds that are going to grow. So it's a pregnancy of the mind, okay? New ideas, new ways of doing things, okay? So keep that in mind. You're definitely going to want to journal or even script at this new moon because I feel like the ideas are going to be flowing and it's just going to, like, you're going to want to memorialize a lot of these things because I feel like a lot of us are going to be thinking a lot, new ideas, new schemes, new scams for some people, depending on which side of the fence you fall on, right? But this marks the beginning phase, okay? Which is a little counterintuitive because full moons are sort of the culmination. It's when, you know, the new moon is when you plant the seed and the full moon is when you pick the fruit off the tree, right? But there's something inherent in this new moon about planting seeds. It almost has a new moon feel to it, particularly because the moon is in its home sign. So pay attention to what ideas come to mind. Pay attention to what ideas you hear, right? Especially with Mercury retrograde, ideas from the past may be coming back around. Advice from the past may be coming back around. People to give you advice may be coming back around from the past. So pay attention to everything that you're hearing, okay? And remember what I said. This full moon provides the fertile seed for mental pregnancy, okay? The analogy I'm about to give may be a little weird, but be mindful of who fucks your mind. And I know that sounded kind of crude, but let me explain. Your mind is full of fertile soil to plant new seeds. You don't want to plant seeds that are going to grow into negative things. You don't want to plant seeds that are going to grow into weeds. You don't want to plant seeds that are going to grow into things that may be dangerous or self-destructive, okay? You really want to pay attention to what you are ingesting mentally. Please do not, and I was explaining this on my live with Rob Blackstorm today. When you're on this journey, and especially at this point in time right now, manifestation happens instantaneously. I was also having this conversation with my sister earlier. You think something and it comes to fruition. Okay. So you really have to be mindful of what you're thinking, what you're ingesting. That song that you hear on the radio all the time, or that song that you hear online all the time, This may not be the kind of song you want to get stuck in your head, because guess what? It's going to manifest. You want to be really particular with your mental diet. This year is all about the mind. It's all about the mental. Partially, it's also about your intuition too, but the two are going to be working hand in hand, in tandem this year. And the more you have things in your mind, the more they elicit emotions. And the more that you elicit emotions, the more it manifests in your reality. Okay. So be very mindful of what you're listening to, who you're listening to, who you're following. Okay. Because these are the things that are going to start manifesting in your life. And when shit starts to go left and you're like, why is this happening? Why is this showing up? Why? Because of what you're ingesting. You're not even knowing it. Okay, so be very mindful. And I feel like the full moon is going to illuminate what you've been ingesting. It's going to illuminate where your mind is at. It's going to illuminate what you've been nurturing and developing and what you should be nurturing and developing. Okay, so this full moon is going to be extremely important. I love that it's the first week of this fiscal year. This is giving us the opportunity to start this fiscal year on the right foot. Manifesting the things we want, nurturing, watering, and developing the things that we really want to see and the things that we want to show up in our lives, rather than playing old programming on a loop. Whatever they've been feeding us, whatever they've been forcing down our throats and into our minds, no more do we have to play that on loop and therefore manifest that in our lives. We have the power to really create the reality that we want. And this full moon in Cancer is going to be it's going to play a very instrumental role in that. So heed my advice. Please be careful with what you are ingesting mentally and keep your thoughts to where you want your reality to go. All right, let's keep it moving. All right. So then on Saturday, we've got the Sun conjunct Mercury. All right. So the Sun is going to be conjunct Mercury at, well, the way that I have it set up, they're both going to be at 17 degrees. Okay. And then we have the moon moving into Leo. All right. So Sun conjunct Mercury is that Mercury cazimi that I was talking about. It's basically good fortune, optimism, all of that positive stuff. All right. And I stand corrected. They're going to be conjunct at 16 degrees Capricorn. And again, we cannot escape the number 7 this year because again, 1 + 6, 7. Ideas, pregnancy of the mind. Okay. And you fuel those thoughts with your emotions. So this is going to be perhaps the time where you have $1 million idea or you have a really great idea that's going to set you up long-term for success. Okay. This is mental alertness. This is quick thinking, adaptability. If you find that towards the end of the week, your curiosity is piqued or you are interested in something that you never was really interested in before, indulge your curiosity because that may be where your abundance lies. The seed that you need to plant in your mind may be in something that you've been curious about, something that you've been wanting to research, but haven't really had the time or haven't really put the effort into doing so. This is the time where you're going to want to do that because whatever effort you put in, it's going to work out in your favor, right? It's going to be positive. It's going to give you optimism and it's going to ignite whatever idea you're thinking. It's going to heat up and re-energize something. Could be something from the past also. Because remember, Mercury is still retrograde. Okay. So good stuff all around, honestly. Anytime you're talking about the sun, you're talking about self-awareness, like I said before. So this idea may have something to do with yourself, with your spiritual journey, how you see yourself, your self-concept, your self-confidence, okay? Any of those thoughts you're going to want to keep very positive and very pure because it's almost like the universe is going to sprinkle some blessings on it, okay? And energize it. That's the best part about cazimis. So if you don't know what a cazimi is, it's when a planet is conjunct the sun. But it's when the planet is conjunct at a very specific degree in relation to the sun. Because what happens if you get too close to the sun? you get burned. When planets get too close to the sun overshadows that planet's energy. And when the planet is far from the sun, the energy of that planet isn't necessarily energized. But when the planet is right at that sweet spot in relation to the sun, that is what's known as cazimi. And the energy isn't overpowered by the sun, but rather the sun heats it up and energizes it, right? So we're talking about Mercury, we're talking about ideas. And with Mercury being retrograde, ideas from the past are going to be re-energized. These are the things that you're going to want to plant in your mind, because this is right off the heels of that full moon in Cancer. So again, whatever you've been curious about, whatever you've been wondering about, whatever idea you had in the past and you kind of put it away, if it comes up at this time, it is meant to explore it, research it, memorialize it, nurture it, not just around this time, but going forward, because that is going to be the key that unlocks a particular door in your life in the future. All right. Excellent stuff. All right. Then we have the moon in Leo. And I like this because not only is this a day for indulging in your curiosity, not only is it a day that's going to give you great ideas, the way you feel is going to be very lighthearted. You're going to be very much in tune with your heart chakra. You're going to want to follow your heart. Okay. You're going to want to have the courage to follow your heart. But by and large, what I love most about Moon in Leo is that it lets your inner child out to play. Remember I said Mercury is going to be retrograde, or Mercury is retrograde. So it's ideas from the past that are being re-energized. This is the perfect time to let your inner child out to play, and things that you wanted to do as a child, things that brought you joy, things that you were passionate about. Even if they weren't from your childhood, maybe they were just from the past, right? But they make you happy. You're passionate about them. The moon in Leo is the perfect time for that, okay? And if it doesn't, because the moon is going to be in the waning gibbous phase, this is all about getting rid of what you don't need. So if it doesn't align with your heart, you don't need it. That's going to be your litmus test for this full moon in Cancer and whatever ideas come about. If you're not passionate about them, if they don't align with your heart's truest desires, that's probably an indication that that's not the idea that you want to nurture going forward. But if it piques your interest and your curiosity, if you're passionate about it, and if it makes your mini me, if it makes your inner child happy, by all means, entertain it, nurture it, and watch it grow. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Okay. Now, also, whenever the moon is in Leo, we've got like romance and creativity being highlighted, your need and your desire to be seen, to have, to seek attention is also heightened. But by and large, it's a nice moon to just have fun. It's a nice moon to just, again, indulge your inner child, have fun, and explore fun things, delve into lighthearted energy, and just be a kid again and have fun. All right. Hello, Marjorie. Thank you so much for joining. Glad to see you again today. All right. So that is Saturday. All right. Let's keep it moving. So finally, we get to Sunday, all right? And we close out the week with Mercury trine Uranus. So Mercury is going to be at 15 degrees Capricorn, still retrograde, and it's going to be trine to Uranus and Taurus, which is also going to be at 15 degrees, okay? Mercury, Uranus, this is flashes of insight. This is aha moments. You notice this week, there's a lot of mental activity. There's a lot of possibilities for ideas, innovations even, because we've got a couple of Uranus transits, okay? This is also going to be like exciting news or surprising news, things sort of happening out of the blue, okay, and suddenly, but in a good way. I don't want you to feel like you have to brace yourself. These are happy accidents and good surprises. Like, it's going to be dope, okay? I really feel like I'm saying this more to myself because I don't know, lately I've been feeling this undercurrent of anxiety, and I don't know if you guys have too. Like, leave a comment in the chat, or leave a comment down below if you've been feeling like this anxious energy, like something is about to happen, but you don't know what. Like I've been feeling this a lot since last week. And I'm like, yo, is something about to pop off? Like, the New York in me feels like I have to brace myself for the worst. But with every transit this week involving Uranus is a trine, and the trine is the best possible aspect. So these are happy things, positive things, surprising you in a good way. Okay. Pay attention to the conversations that come back around. Like intuitively now, I'm sort of feeling that a lot of people can really make amends this week with that Mercury retrograde out of the blue. This could be people that you fell out with a long time in the past. And I feel like this week you can really make amends. You can understand each other, even bury the hatchet if you want to. It doesn't have to be where you necessarily entertain this person in your life anymore, but it could be just apologizing, getting the apology that you felt like you needed, or just really understanding someone and mending old relationships. Psychic abilities, telepathy, these are all going to be heightened this week, particularly with Mercury trine Uranus. Okay, so pay attention to those intuitive nudges. If any of your clairs come alive, clairaudience, clairsentience, any of those come alive, I feel like don't ignore those. It's not some random voice in your head. Yes, that person really understood what you just said in your mind. Like these things are real. And I feel like they're definitely going to come online with this particular transit. Okay. Your senses are going to be stimulated. Like I said, flashes of insight, meeting new and interesting people like on a whim. Okay. Again, this is supposed to be people from the past because still we're talking about Mercury retrograde. Linda said, yes, I keep feeling that's something awesome sauce. Yeah, I'm glad that you think it's something awesome, because I was just like, I feel like something is about to self-destruct or something bad is going to happen. But it's this undercurrent of anxiety, but it's also this current of like excitement at the same time. Good things are in the works. Good things are happening. Okay. Just keep that in mind. You could be gaining insight through interesting people. You could strike up a conversation with someone you've never met before, and they give you the exact information that you need, or some sort of synchronicity or sign. Anytime you involve Uranus, it's like the hand of God. It can be a bit chaotic. It can be unpredictable, but beautiful things can really happen unexpectedly and without any input from you. This is about letting the universe and God do its thing and bring the people, places, and things that you need. Anything that you need to hear. If you've been looking for signs and confirmations, Mercury trine Uranus is the universe delivering, probably giving you a billboard, a neon billboard sign of what you need to know, what you need to hear, and who you need to hear it from. Okay. So leave room for the magic, leave room for spirit to do its thing. Anytime you have Uranus in the mix, you gotta leave room for spirit. Spirit knows more than us. Spirit can rearrange things better than we possibly can, right? So let spirit do its thing and surprise you, because again, it's going to be a beautiful surprise. Nothing crazy, nothing chaotic, just really nice stuff. And that's how we end the week. I love that. I love that energy. I feel like it's going to be a great week. Going to be a little touch and go. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of pent up anger. I feel like there's going to be some enlightenment, a bit of sensitivity and moodiness with that full moon in Cancer. But by and large, if anything, this week is going to be enlightening. And that's a perfect way to start off the fiscal new year. All right, my friends, that has been this edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use moving forward. I'm still having my special on natal charts and progressed natal charts. They're $60 each. If you are interested, the links are going to be in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing week, and I will see you next time, my friends. Take care.